One of the most well-known places to get video games in Japan is Book Off, but we're not just going to Book Off, we're going to Book Off and more. Today we're starting off this journey in Tokyo, where we're going to an arcade, and it will become apparent why in a minute. Now if we're going to talk about video games in Japan, we've got to start off at an arcade. Now do crane games really count as video games? Probably not. Pinball machines are also not really video games. But are they fun and I enjoy playing them in an arcade? Absolutely. This is the day we actually went to the arcade and just said, hey, why not? Let's kill some time, let's play games as a family. And not for nothing, I really think that crane games and UFO catchers are the types of things that if I just played them all the time, I'd get a lot better. Speaking of which, when I was a kid, I actually worked as kind of a carny at a theme park. And there were certain people that were only allowed to play so much because they would just come in and like win the really big prizes after playing the games only like once or twice. I'm really clearly not a part of that play once or twice and win crew. I'm a part of that, hey, I think I could win it this time crew. By the way, a lot of people have asked me about my Venom jacket. I got it from a group called Chalkline. I've known those guys for a very long time and they make dope stuff. So yeah, that's where I got that jacket. In a video about Book Off, why did I show you all this? Well, it makes this next part so much better. And now we're in Osaka.
We're out here in Osaka. Next to that running guy.
Osaka is known for its street food and Universal Studios theme park. But what are we gonna do? This is a Book Off Plus in Osaka, and I could have just bought that Mario I was trying for about 20 bucks here. But for me, I enjoyed the memories I made playing games at the arcade with my kid. Now, why is a Book Off Plus a Book Off Plus? Well, they have books plus a whole bunch of other things like hardware and records and shoes and that sort of thing too. If I'm going to be honest with you, this Book Off was more expensive than even the Book Offs in Akihabara, but they also had a huge selection. I kind of wish I would have picked up that Doshin the Giant game. It's a first-party Nintendo game that made it to the PAL regions but not to the US regions. It's pretty easy to get around the region lock of a Saturn. You just need an action replay. I was looking for a Switch case for my wife, but she doesn't really play Splatoon. Sega Saturn has way more games in Japan than they do in the US, and I love picking one up every now and then just to try it out. Hey, look, a skiing game? A friend recently asked me if they should start collecting PS3. I said yeah, why not? Purely looking at video games as an art form, I really do sometimes prefer the Japanese cover, just because they look so cool. I don't think I've ever played this game, but I've only heard good things about it. They've got a decent Wii U selection, but unfortunately I have all of these games already. These are Super Famicom clones that Book Off made themselves. Pretty neat. It's so interesting to me how popular the 3DS is now. I wonder if the Switch 2 will have another screen. I hope so. This might be a dumb question, but did you call this game Org Battle or Ogre Battle? I found the perfect Switch case for my wife, and it's only like $5. I'm picking it up. It's wild to me that Mother is this much, especially when I know for a fact you can get it way cheaper on eBay. I don't really know a lot of the games in this case, but they all seem really neat. I'd love to give them a try. I picked up this bass fishing game at Trader 2, but they've got it here too. I don't know what this is all about. It's just a bunch of guy cards. This store in Osaka was clearly geared towards tourists, but that's why the prices are touristy. I was walking down the streets of Osaka later and I saw these handmade figurines and I just thought you needed to see Lionel Richie. Anyways, for this next store we're going to go back to Tokyo. This is not how I actually traveled, but through the magic of editing, we're going back to Tokyo. I'm obsessed with Japanese vending machines, and this time I'm not getting a drink, my kid is. And what did he choose? This delicious apple juice. I had a sip. It was a 10 out of 10. Well, anyways, it's time for another Book Off. Let's go to this Book Off in Tokyo. Or rather, let's not go this Book Off in Tokyo. Let me explain. Not all Book Offs are built the same. This one is literally just a very, very, very small bookstore. Like maybe 2 shelves of books. It was super small, like smaller than a gas station small. So always remember to do a little research before you go into a Book Off. Oh, by the way, check it out, Bandai Namco. I hope one day I make content so good that Bandai's like, hey man, you want to tour our offices? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, show me that Pac-Man. Coca-Cola Plus is like a Diet Coke, and when I say it's like a Diet Coke, I mean it has like fiber in it for your diet. By the way, if you take a taxi in Japan, you have multiple options of getting a taxi. Option number 1, just hailing a taxi. Option number 2, you can get a taxi through Uber. And option number 3, which I actually found out like halfway into my trip, is using like this app called Go Taxi. It's cheaper than Uber, and it made it a lot easier to get a taxi. So if I'm going to recommend one of those options, I would say do Go Taxi, because you can also pay through the app, and then you don't have to pay cash or fumble with your credit card. Across town, I finally made it to a Book Off Plus. Now the funny thing is, this was actually the first Book Off Plus I went to. As I walked in, I was greeted with a ton of Pokemon cards and a rack of stuff, and behind this was a Super Mario Maker Wii U. That would have been less than $50. Xbox was never too popular in Japan, but it's always very interesting to see Japanese variants of Xbox games in Japan. I don't really collect for Vita, but it's crazy seeing games for like $5. Look at all these Nintendo toys. Speaking of Wii U, I'm going for a complete Japanese Wii U set, and sometimes it's nice to just find variants. This Rayman Legends cover is so much different than the American version, I had to pick it up. Funny enough, I actually picked up this game on Long Island at a store called Video Game Trading Post, so I didn't pick it up here because I got it there for $10. I picked this up thinking it was an exclusive for Japan, but it's actually just like Family Party 30 great games. I already have a US copy of this game, but I was really tempted to pick it up for only like $5. This is probably my favorite Persona game, but 5 is a close second. They had so many GameCube games that were really cheap that I ended up just picking up a whole bunch. $9 for Super Smash? Heck yeah. Pikmin for like 15? Yep, picking it up. Super Mario Sunshine for only like $20? I'm leaving it here actually. With prices like this for Kirby Air Ride, I'm surprised they haven't remade this yet. By the way, I just love the size and shape of GameCube games here. They're just so tiny and compact, and they just look so cool. Donkey Kong Country was actually the first game I ever got for my Super Nintendo when I was a kid, and I just have so much nostalgia for it. I like that it's Super Donkey Kong here. This price is pretty expensive, but apparently that's about what it goes for, and it's just a really cool shoot-'em-up game. I think it was re-released on PS4. Games without a case with 30% off. Please learn something, GameStop. Speaking of Switch games, I always love seeing Japanese Switch games, but they're just so readily available in the US to pick up very easily via things like PlayAsia that I usually leave them here. But they were actually really well priced. My son and I played through the first Shinchan game, so I want to get this, but I think there'll be a US version. I'm not gonna lie, I really like the Japanese cover of this. It just seems more epic. I'm not picking this up because I can't read it, but it is beautiful. Is Pokemon Emerald the best one? I've never played it, let me know. I didn't pick this up. I should have. I mean, look how cool it is. I gotta be honest, if I would have picked up absolutely everything I thought was pretty cool, I would not have been able to fit anything in my suitcase. Speaking of which, this is an absolute pristine copy of Twilight Princess, and it is just immaculate. $100 for a PS Vita, not a bad price. The Wii U's here were really inexpensive, but I didn't pick up any because I was planning on picking up one in Okinawa. By the way, I love the way the Mega Drive looks. I did pick up these Game Boy cables though. This is why I think Book Off Plus is my favorite Book Off store. First of all, look at the sneaker selection. There were so many things in here that I was like, yo, I haven't seen these in a minute, and they are beautiful. Now most of them were a little bit too small to fit on my feet, but I would honestly say the two places I see the most sneakers in the world are Tokyo and New York. I should have got these Union J's. They are so pretty. And I think these were those fragments that came out a couple years ago that just weren't as popular as the originals. This Book Off also had vinyls, which is something I was looking for a long time. However, I don't know Japanese, so I had a terrible time actually finding the vinyls I was looking for. I did find some Cassiope though. Baby, love Cassiope. It always seems like there's at least like one or two people that speak English at a store, so I'll just take out my Spotify playlist and be like, do you know this person? Do you have music by them? After that, I played a game of Music Roulette. I just looked through their albums and picked out some that I thought, hey, this might be good. I recently started a rewatch of My Hero Academia. I think I might need to just read the manga though. I went to quite a few of these stores in Tokyo, but I have to say this Book Off Plus might have been my favorite, just because of the wide variety of stuff. So let's play the game. What did I get there? Well, I picked up a ton of GameCube games, mainly because they were crazy cheap, and they are so cute looking. I mean, look how small these little cases are. So yeah, I picked these up. I also went ahead and picked up these Wii U games. They're both available in the US, but their covers are so different that I had to get these variants. This is my super messy pickup shot where I show you I got a Cassiope album, an album by a group called Pink Lady, and an album by a group called Hi-Fi Set. I'm not sure if that's their name or this is just a hi-fi set. I got 2 more variants of Wii U games for the Wii U set, and I had a hard time putting them on this shelf. And this has nothing to do with anything else, but look how beautiful this street sign is. I mean, just like Earth, Wind, that looks so cool. This next statement is gonna make me sound super dumb. I've known about Atmos for a very long time. They have some of the coolest collaborations with Nike that I've ever seen. Now, Atmos is like a sneaker store. They have sneakers, they're like a Foot Locker, but in Japan. And they do have quite a few collaborations. They're not readily available anymore, but if you ever want to look into what Atmos has made, check out the Nike Animal Pack. I recently did some research into the Nike TN Air Max, and I gotta say, it's super interesting what this shoe means to the UK. Air Maxes in general typically don't fit on my feet too well because I have really flat feet, but I really like the way these things look. They're super neat. Anyways, I didn't know that Atmos was short for atmosphere. I found that out when I walked in here and I saw the word atmosphere. I took a bus while I was in Kyoto all the way to this 7-Eleven over here because I was thirsty and they had smoothies. Sometimes when you're traveling, you're just not eating enough fruits and vegetables. And in Japan, fruits can be a little bit more expensive, mainly because they're like perfect. If you want to eat some more fruits and vegetables, maybe come to a 7-Eleven and try out one of these smoothies. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen things like this in the US at gas stations, but I think what strikes me about this is, you know, it just seems very fruit forward and vegetable forward and not really like extra sugars and additives forward. It really ended up tasting pretty clean. Anyways, back to Book Off. This Book Off was located in Kyoto near the Nintendo store, and check it out, baby. They had a copy of a game I needed for Wii U. And for only like $5, so yeah, I picked it up. I don't want to ruin GoldenEye for you, but if you look closely, it kind of looks like Pierce Brosnan just has like one really long mouth. Yeah, you won't be able to unsee that. Hey, check it out, it's a Hatsumime Miku fitness boxing game. I didn't know this was even coming out. I was kind of in a hurry this day, so I didn't have too much time to look around and everything, but I gotta say this, it was a pretty darn good Book Off, and the prices really weren't as bad as the Osaka one. So if you're gonna go to a Book Off in either Osaka or Kyoto, I'd say go to this one in Kyoto. It's really not that far away, and there are just so many more opportunities to save money and get really cool things. I only ended up picking up this one Wii U game, but I'm pretty sure that completes my Taiko Drum Battle Wii U collection. To get to this next store, we had to fly on a plane and go all the way to Okinawa, Japan. Now, the reason we went was to visit family, but you know what? It's a lot of fun here. So we took this car. It's called a Toyota Rumi, and I drove in Japan for the first time. I feel like it was a milestone for me. I've never actually driven in a foreign country, and it was something different for sure. What's the #1 reason to go to Okinawa? Well, for me, it's family. But then, other than that, I also enjoy going to hard offs. I film like 90% of my stuff on an iPhone nowadays, but I can't help but look at lenses because lenses make such a huge difference when you film something on a standard camera. There's a lot more random stuff at this hard off. I love it. Playing back this footage, I too am shocked that I did not pick up this 3DS right there. My goodness, that would have been like $35. Anyways, we're going into the junk section of this hard off. A lot of the stuff in the junk section actually works, or is just aesthetically unappealing, like this new 3DS. Technics makes really nice record players. There's no way I would have been able to get this home, but for like $7, it's almost worth the risk. I used to DJ a lot back in the day, and so I can't help but like look at audio equipment every single time I see it. N64 games are just so inexpensive here. I'm such a big fan of the Battle Network series. I've never seen this Ultraman GameCube game, so yeah, I'm picking it up. And this SD Gundam game looks pretty cool, but I don't really know how to play it, so I'm gonna leave it here. I believe that the PC Engine was probably one of the most popular non-Nintendo, Sega, Sony consoles that was ever released in Japan. So it's pretty nice to see all these different TurboGrafx PC Engine games here. Pretty much my only requirement for picking up games is it pretty cheap, and does it look like it's not a RPG? If it is not an RPG and I could actually play it without knowing Japanese, yeah, I pretty much picked it up. $5, picking it up. In general, pretty decent retro game collection overall. Not everything, but you know, just a good variety. This Rhythm Heaven game is only download only in the US. But too bad the 3DS is region locked. This Rhythm Heaven game does have a physical US copy though. Hey, and check it out, they've got a Wii U game here that I don't have. I think it's like some sort of karaoke game. Clearly I can't play it because it's probably a live service type game, but neat, picking it up. Even though I don't have a Japanese 3DS, I always look through the games because I feel like maybe one day this is the type of thing I'll have. Good selection. I don't know anything about this game, but I just see it all the time, so people probably like it maybe. I'm taking one more dive into the junk section, and they've got a ton of lenses that don't work. Okinawa is kind of a tropical island, so I have a feeling like a lot of people dropped a lot of these in the ocean. All the games in here are like $1.50, so yeah, I'm picking up a loose wave race for no good reason. I ended up spending quite a bit of time looking through these bins, mainly because these are all priced very, very low. And I'm gonna be honest, if they have this type of store near me, I'd probably go every other day. I think this is like the most fun I have hunting for games, like looking through things, going through drawers. It's so fun. They also had this off house here. It looked like it was mostly for household items, clothes, that sort of thing. So not really something I could carry on a plane. In general, I just find that the prices in Okinawa are a lot cheaper. And yeah, there's a lot of good deals to be had. I have a Japanese PlayStation, so I just ended up going a little ham with these Japanese PlayStation games. I'm really excited to play these. And I got another Wii U game that I could only get in Japan. On the way to the next store, I'm making poignant observations that are very, very important.
Look at that license plate. 9999.
I get a little weird and hammy when I hang out with my brother, and that's exactly what I'm doing here at this Manga Saoko in Okinawa, Japan. Now, I always hear people talk about Book Off, but I never hear people talk about Manga Saoko. Now, this place has a very, very similar concept. It's a secondhand shop, it has a bunch of cool stuff, and it's just a place where you can get things. But the thing that I find different about this place is Book Off starts in the area of being a place where you get books, like a bookstore. But this seems to be more so in the reference place of being more of like about otaku culture and that sort of thing. It's a bigger mix than that though. They do reference a lot of things like sneakers, streetwear, and just a larger net of interests. Basically this entire trip I've been looking for TurboGrafx-16 games that were a little bit more on the cheap side. All of these games are sitting here at about like $2, so I'm picking literally all of them up. This is more expensive than the complete in-box one I saw earlier at a Book Off, but you know, happens. They also have quite a few more expensive, rarer titles, but I really don't know enough about it to go and grab them. Every single time I see a Wii U selection, I have to look at it. None of these games I don't have, except for this Breath of the Wild. It's been a while, I've been looking at a lot of different stores, and this is actually the cheapest I've seen it, so for like 25 US bucks, I'm gonna pick it up. This is an all-time low price for these Wii U's. They're only 20 bucks a piece, but actually they're actually closer to about $15. I took a look at them, I didn't pick them up. Maybe deep down on the inside, I didn't really want one. I'm gonna be honest, at this point in my trip, I've got so many things to put in my bag that I'm really leaving a whole bunch of stuff behind, unless it's super special. That's a pretty cool Switch case though. This is like a Japanese summer vacation simulator. I actually already have a Shinshan game that's a lot like it, so I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna pick up this Klonoa game though. No good reason, but I am. Not everything is rock bottom priced, but you can still get a PS4 for like 60 bucks, not a bad price. And hey, check it out, modern consoles as well. This is a special controller for Super Game Boys. It works for Super Nintendos and Super Famicoms. I've been looking for this for over 2 decades, so yeah, I'm picking it up. This model Famicom disc system is not for sale, but I want it so bad. I haven't picked up a ton of N64, so I'm gonna pick up basically all of these. So I picked this up in Tokyo for like 30 bucks, but it's sitting right here for like $2 complete in box. So yeah, I'm picking it up. This next B-roll, I don't know what to do with, but this is my brother.
And put in something else. What do you think about this store, Pete?
It's amazing. Super dry, great, happy, fun.
The store is great, has a little bit of everything, and I got a ton of games.
Clearly one of the things I need to work on with my videos is talking to the camera while I'm in stores. I am so bad at that, but I think it's like I should just practice that more. Anyways, I'm back at it looking at some more Japanese vinyls. It's really hard for me to find the ones I'm looking for. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm just into city pop right now, so I'm always just looking for city pop. That and Chage and Asuka. Love Chage and Asuka. All that game hunting has got me parched, so I got a little bit of a lemon sparkling water. I forgot to mention I got this GameCube game at the last store. This controller is super cool. I've known about it for a very long time, and it feels like you're just holding a straight up Game Boy. It's great. I've never played the Klonoa games, but I've heard a lot of good things. I don't know why I didn't realize that the Japanese version and the American version are pretty much the same cover. I guess this is as close as I will get to Mother 4. I got a ton of TurboGrafx games, and I'm really excited to eventually try these out. The only N64 games I find for under like $5 are always really bad sports games, and a lot of sports games are more than like $10 nowadays, which is super annoying. This is Animal Crossing for like $8, and this is Mario game for less than $2. I don't regret getting Breath of the Wild because it's pretty awesome, but I don't know if I'd even consider it a variant. But yeah, for these purposes, oh, look at this variant I got. Another Wii U game. And now it's time to go to a hard off. I like going to a hard off. Now this is just another hard off in Okinawa, Japan. Nothing really special about it. So let's see what we got. I wish I had unlimited money to buy better and better cameras, but not today. Let's play another round of This Probably Won't Fit in My Bag, so I'm gonna have to leave it here. But this Hori fighting stick for Persona is pretty dope. I think these are some Neo Geo Pocket games, but I don't really know too much about these ones in particular. It's time to look at the Wii U games, even though these Wii U games are games that I already have, so I'm gonna leave them all here. I just wanted to show you this because this section is just called Old Games. I don't know, it's just funny to me. I love seeing a good old Famicom Disk System game, but I think I already have Othello, so I'm gonna leave it here. It always feels like I spend both too much time and not enough time in these video game stores. I just don't know enough about individual games to know what they're about. Like this one, no clue. No clue what this is, and I'd have to like look up every single individual game to figure it out. Like this is a Spinny Baton game, and this is a Goemon game, and I've never heard of this game before. That being said, if I could somehow make profit off of this, I would just like look through all these bins all day. I just really love looking through video games and learning more about them. Like $2 for a Dragon Ball game? Yes, please. By the way, I kind of feel like Japan loves baseball more than the US loves baseball. It's just there's so many baseball games. And look at all these Wii Fit boards. And this one's a Wii U Fit board. That's fun. So I can see why they changed the name of this game to Kung Fu Heroes in the US. Yeah, this cool looking controller is from a game called Guitar Freaks, which clearly was the inspiration for Guitar Hero. Clean $25 Saturn. Speaking of PC Engine, there's a copy of Bonk's Adventure right here and a couple of other bangers. This standalone Wii was like $3. It's 550 yen, which is like $3. I have a love-hate relationship with loose UMDs. I think they're just so cool looking. There are just a ton of bins and I can't look through all of them, but every once in a while I'll see something that I'm like, huh, what's that? Should I pick that up? And the answer is yes, when it's a Super Famicom controller for only like $1. This book off was filled with games at a very cheap price. A great place to stop if you happen to be in Japan and are game hunting. This first N64 game I heard of is some sort of kart Mario game. I don't know, it seems interesting. I've never really heard of it though. And yeah, of course, Goemon the Mystical Ninja, a game everybody knows. I also picked up a super cheap Super Famicom controller and this copy of Fireman, which I shouldn't have taken the sticker off of. This is another manga salko, but this is just on the other side of Okinawa. Where a book off or a hard off has, you know, media and discs, a manga salko just has pretty much everything you could think of. I'm gonna do one more pass at these Wii U games just to see if there's any games that I haven't picked up yet. I have 3 copies of Just Dance Yokai Watch for some reason. A lot of the Wii U games actually have very similar covers to their American counterparts, so I only ended up picking up ones that look drastically different. One of the main reasons I actually went to this store is because I had second thoughts about not picking up a Wii U while I was here, so I was just seeing if they had a Wii U. And it's about this point that I actually noticed that Super Mario Maker was yellow in Japan. Yeah, I'm gonna pick that up, but I'm gonna actually pick up the version that's complete in box for about 80 cents more. Now the DS is not region locked, but the 3DS is. So I'm gonna leave all these 3DS games here, even though I'm super jealous that they're different colored cases. The Yokai Watch games are so significantly cheaper here that it blows me away every single time. I mean, these games here are about like $20, In America, they are like several $100 games. You could actually learn Japanese for the price it would cost you to buy those games. The Game Boy Advance is one of my favorite consoles. This game is the precursor to Marvel vs. Capcom, and it's pretty sick. On top of that, check it out, Policenauts. This game is one of Kojima's early games, the guy who made Metal Gear Solid. I don't have a lot of time here, but look at all these gems. And a volleyball game. Why not? I'm picking it up. Every single sold comp of this rare Game Gear is about $400 on eBay. That's okay, I'm gonna leave it here, but it's still pretty sick. And I always love to see a Wonder Swan. And just another copy of this bass fishing game. And then another copy. There's so many copies all over Okinawa. I could have been the guy that owned Sonic Jam. This Cubivore cover is confusing. Ain't nobody got no time for that. I actually don't have the time to look through this. The whole reason I stopped by this particular store was because I was trying to get a Wii U. Unfortunately, they did not have any Wii U's. They had some Wii U games, but no Wii U's, unfortunately. They did have some new releases that I'd never heard of, and some modern day consoles, but I left them there. This is another good Manga Salko. The other one might have been better, but you can still find good things here. I really didn't pick up too much Famicom Disk System stuff, but I'm glad I picked this volleyball game up. And you know what? The Super Mario Maker is a variant color, which makes it super cool. And it's a fun game, so I'm glad to have it in the collection. It's really been fun collecting Wii U again. I just love the console. All that game hunting made me parched, so I'm getting a Okinawan Shikwasa Fanta. It's a lot like lime, but it's really like a lime mixed with an orange. It's really a very unique flavor that's only available here in Okinawa. I game hunted a lot here, and I had a lot of fun. I hope you had fun with me too.